Hello, everybody. So this is night two, unplanned. Neither night was actually planned in advance, but uh, night two of what is 10 episodes in 2 days, assuming all goes well tonight. Um, Yesterday was exhausting. I think I might just press play today on this episode. God damn, tell me it's not just fucked everything. Today we are watching a thing called Accessing a Cable. I have no idea what it's actually about. I'm going to assume it's something about public access stuff, so. Why is that not colored? Let's color it. We need some interesting lights. None of the episodes are going to be particularly long tonight. Dead Air Live. That's my whole show, basically, is I don't really say much. This 10 episode run, unless someone else joins tonight, I have invited people to come and join the live show. If no one does, then these 10 episodes are all up. Are going to be how to describe them. They're going to be old school. We haven't really done cinema episodes like this in a long time. They've really taken on a certain life with Bat hosting a bunch of them. Turn it off. I look worse today than I did yesterday.
Good evening and welcome to Dead Air Live. Tonight the producers group are proud to present a celebration of access in our community, especially community organizations here in Somerville and how they use video. With me for our first guest is Jerry Field, who's the executive director here at SCAT, Somerville Community Access Television, or fondly known as SCAT. And Jerry, I just wanted to ask you, how many organizations are involved here at SCAT right now?
As formal members of SCAT, community organizations can join SCAT and take full advantage of the access resources that we have here, training and access to the channel. We have right now 32 different organizations in Somerville. There are lots of other ways, though, that other organizations take advantage of the access to the channel that we offer. Last year, we estimated that there were about 80 Somerville-based organizations that use the community bulletin board on a regular basis.
And what is that now?
Well, right now on Channel 3 and Channel 22, this program is from the studio down in Union Square, and it's a live program. And then there will be, later on this evening, tape programs that will be run from here. When we finish what we call playback, or playing those tapes back for you to see at home, we then put on what we call the community bulletin board, and that's the pages or the screens of information about different organizations, penny sales, yard sales, different kinds of meetings, that kind of thing. And it's one of the parts of one of the services on cable that I think actually does get a lot of viewers. Not too many people sit down and watch it for hours on end, but it's the kind of thing where it's a service that a lot of organizations use to get to a lot of people as people are quickly going from channel to channel, whatever. It's a good way to get notices up. It's the same way, and it's an electronic bulletin board.
Mm. Well, I know Somerville has one of the oldest histories around access in the country. Was it since 73?
No, 72, 73, right.
Such a long time. But in terms of SCAT as an organization, we've been around for how long? How many?
Since incorporated in 1983. Right. And we've been in this building here in the old fire station in Union Square since 1985. For a couple of years we ran out of the Davis Square area, and then we have the first floor of the fire station converted into a studio and offices, and we've been here now for a little over 3 years.
It's a nice space.
Yeah, very nice.
Now Somerville also, I mean, is not unusual in the sense that there's 3 different kind of access the community can take. What are those for people that don't know?
Yeah, the public access channel, if you're watching us right now tonight on Channel 3, you're watching on the public access channel. And that's a channel that's available on a first-come, first-served basis to anybody in the community of Somerville. The Educational Access Channel, which is on Channel 22, is also a channel that SCAT operates and manages. And
Man.
through the group that I know that we wanted to mention.
That's cool as
tonight,
shit.
the
I wish that was just like a regular thing out here. I wish Geelong had its own
to us about the programming
public
on the
access TV station.
During the day, Channel 22 is primarily it's the Learning Channel, which is a nationally available service. And on 3 evenings during the week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, we provide a real variety of what we would like to call community education programming, local Somerville-based meetings, programs, a real variety of programs. And the third channel that's available is is what's called City Cable on Channel 16. That's programmed by the people up at City Hall in the Office of Telecommunications.
Now, I know I'm just getting a cue that we only have 1 minute left, so I hesitate to ask you this question, but I have to.
What's the meaning of life? Yeah.
Right, the meaning of life. No, we saw a wonderful demonstration today, and I just want to, start off the show with sort of a glimpse into the future of organizational access. What did we see today that...
We had a test today of something that we'll actually formally be launching tomorrow during the annual meeting of the Somerville Educational Cable Council of what's called the institutional network. It's a different part of the cable system that people won't be able to see in their homes. Not all the time. We will be able to do some special programming with that. But it allows different institutions within Somerville, usually public institutions or nonprofit organizations, to communicate to each other two-way video. And what we saw today was a demonstration from the superintendent's office between our conference room and the superintendent's office of a two-way interactive video meeting.
So we have a lot of really fun stuff to look forward to.
Yep.
So organizations will have a lot of ways to flex their access muscles, so to speak. The rest of our show is going to have a lot of different guests on talking about very different ways that they've used public access as a community organization. But right now we're going to start off with a wonderful montage tape that was edited this afternoon by Abigail Norman. And it's all about
We get a free
generations.
mixtape.
And we'll be joined by those producers with that show after the tape. So stay with us.
Too close and closer. Yeah. The first thing you know, it was too much. But then you stop halfway, you've got to just right line.
That's right.
In June, members of the Somerville Walking Club and their friends met at Somerville Community TV to learn how to use video equipment. This was their first class.
That's what Sydney said. You could see the finished product. That's what I wanted. That's quite interesting, really.
Interesting indeed.
Oh, yes. See the mistakes that we made?
Now we wanted to reject.
That's good open automatic now. That's a wire, yeah.
Sydney, the one that's run by battery, how long did you say the battery was? About 45 minutes. So you have to really be prepared for additional batteries.
Plus you have to charge them ahead of time. Okay, who owns a VCR?
I have one at home, but I don't know.
Would you put that in there and rewind it?
Oh, no, I will.
Would you come with me so we can put these away?
Sure. Here, you wanna...
Fascinating.
You can't hear?
She's going to get some other...
They were drinking. The whole drink, that's why I took a picture.
You drinking water? What are you saying?
Can you hear me talking? Yeah. Okay. Now, how's it going?
That's a good picture.
I understand that you're going to be a judge.
No, dear, I'm going to be no, sir, I'm going to be an entertainer.
No, you're going to be a judge.
No, I'm going to be an entertainer.
No, you're going to be a judge.
Oh, you want me to say that because you're telling me I'm going to be a judge?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Yes, I'm going to be a judge. I think it's about time they got some sensible judges in here because those who have been in the past have not been doing such a good job. And I don't know who they
It's
are.
savaging them.
I don't know. Why, lady? Do you know who the judges have been? I don't know who they've been, but however, this is what I heard.
I understand you're going to be one. You're gonna be one, and you're gonna be one.
That's right.
Right.
Aren't we lucky, huh? I have to read. I would like to retract.
take your
I would like to
words
retract
back.
my statement. I am going to be in very good company. The judges they've had in the past have been so exceedingly good that they are asked to come back again and again.
And again. All right. Okay. Does that sound all right?
Oh, fucked up your sound on this one. There we go.
Piano for them. Yeah. I see. All right. And have you been doing this here long?
Oh, I do it every once in a while. We go to the hospitals and play in different places.
Have you got a name for this?
Oh no, just sometimes I play alone. Sometimes I play with
a bunch of fellows or
yeah,
whatever.
right.
I see.
I'm from Pearl Street Park.
Oh yes. I thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
What are you here for?
To watch the elderly talent show.
I thank you. And have you got anybody that you know that's going to speak today?
No, but we
just heard
we come up
about
every
it.
year and watch it every year.
All right.
I'm just here to see some of my friends.
I see.
Yeah, we come all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isabel Cheney.
Let's go. I wonder if they still do this.
It's a ground of place, there's always fair to see. You tell me.
You know what we're discussing here?
You've got two tapes here.
Yes.
This controls one and that controls
Yes.
He's got the play when he wants to turn around.
Yes. This is the one we're recording on, and that's the one we're recording from.
In September, the group learned how to edit.
Sal made the other day. And we're picking which pieces that we want and putting them on this one.
needs to be changed. New eyes for the meetings which have been acknowledged by the...
Oh.
You did it wrong, didn't you?
That switched over automatically, Sam.
It does, yeah. You did. No, I didn't do it.
What did I do wrong, Sal?
You put the stop on there. You should have put a hold so you know what you want to go. Now I gotta go all the way back again and see where we
See,
stop.
now he's teaching you. Are you mad at me,
No,
Sal?
dear. No, dear. I just want to know if I said it right.
She did it absolutely right.
The Generations Producers Group will meet all year at Somerville Community TV to produce television programs by, for, and about the elders of Somerville.
Sounds like fun. Can I watch it?
And welcome back to Dead Air Live and our special show, Accessing the Cable, Community Groups. With me, I have some guests who worked on the show, the excerpt you just saw on Generations. To my left is Sal Puglisi. Welcome, Sal.
Thank you.
To Sal's left is Sydney Story. Sydney is executive producer of The Generations and works with SCAT, and Sal is a member of the Generations Producers Group. Is that right? Right. Sal, tell me, how long have you been involved with the Generations Producers Group?
I say about 4 months.
And why did you get involved?
Well, we walk in, we have a walking club. We happened to come down here, and we saw the way the camera was going. So we had quite a few of us, and that's how we started.
All right. Now let me ask you this. Would you prefer to be in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Behind the camera.
That's what I thought. So during this montage that we just saw, on the show, you were doing a whole lot of that work, right?
Right.
Right. What has been your favorite show so far? Do you have one?
No, they're all about the same.
Yeah. All right. Sydney, how long have you been involved working with this group?
About 4 months. That's how long the group has existed.
Okay.
And Sal and I realized as we were talking before the show, I think that we really have a lot to be proud of, because in those 4 months we've had 3 shows go on the air. So I think these guys have done a really great job.
How many people are involved in the Generations Producers Group?
Well, it's pretty much any senior who lives in Somerville who's interested in working on video on TV. Certainly if anybody had an idea of a show that they were interested in having produced, a particular idea, they could get in touch with me here, and then we would work together to make certain that that program happened. And at the moment, we're working with about 6 or 7, 8 people actively.
All right. And what kind of shows have you done these past 4 months?
Let's see. On the air this month is a tape of an AARP meeting that was
Which
introducing...
stands for people who don't know?
American Association of Retired Persons.
Okay.
That was introducing the silver-haired legislators from this area. And then we had a show that was video shorts, which was kind of a collection of different interviews that they did with each other as they kind of practiced using the different equipment. And what we just saw a little bit of in the last tape, which was the Somerville Elders Talent Show.
Great.
So those are the 3 programs we've had on. And we're working on another project now, which was the dedication of the Senior Center here in Somerville last month.
Oh, great. And Sal, what kind of advice
The
would
show
you
get
give?
up to lots and lots of shenanigans.
Yes, I would, because it's a lot of different things they could do, and they get involved with anything they want in here. It's very, very good.
All right. What I had a question too. I don't seem to ever have heard of a community public access facility that actually had shows produced by seniors for seniors. Is this unusual to have?
Well, I think it's certainly taken place before. I feel really committed to trying to have the seniors be as much hands-on as possible. I've talked to other people who've had kind of similar programs, but I don't think the seniors actually ran the cameras and did the equipment. The show that's on now, seniors ran the cameras, did the audio, and did the editing. So that I try to just be the organizational person, and I try to keep my hands off as much as I can.
And do you?
I do pretty much,
She puts the blame on me.
I can blame him, and then
So I get the blame.
Great. What kind of feedback do you all get from other seniors in the community? Do a lot of people watch these shows?
As far as I understand, yes, they do. Because they ask me when we're going to see this film. So I tell them, it takes a good month.
Yeah.
Before you do everything, editing and all that there. Takes a good month.
All right. Great.
So.
Not
you
these
would tell other
days.
people to come down, though, and
Yes,
join
I
the group.
would.
You got room for other people in this group?
Plenty.
All right.
just call
Right?
Scat, yep,
Yep.
and ask for me or ask for Sal.
Well, it's really exciting. I really thank you all for being here and sharing
Thank you
that.
very much.
The next tape that we're going to see is a tape that is all about reading the news. It's basically called The Talking News, and it's done by Joel Nitzberg and the community schools. And he's going to be joining us after that. So please stay tuned and stay with us for The Talking News.
I wish I was rich enough to have my own TV channel.
Welcome
Free
to
TV
Talking
channel.
News, November 10th, 1988.
Kind of dumb shit I would do.
Talking News is a weekly taped news program using articles from local papers and other resources. This service is brought to you by Somerville Community Schools. My name is Joel Nitzberg. And now with the news. Residents dump parking plan for lot by Alana Verone of the Somerville Journal. City officials are abandoning a plan to build a parking lot on an MBTA-owned site on Summer Street in the face of opposition from neighbors who want housing there instead. At a meeting of the Davis Square Task Force last Thursday, members shouted down a proposal to provide about 40 parking spaces for local business people on a lot occupied by an emergency access shaft to Davis subway tunnel. They reiterated demands made as long as 6 years ago that houses or offices be built there. The MBTA wants to lease the site to a developer that will use it in whatever way the city requests. Mayor Eugene Brune said his plans to abide by the neighborhood's position because of the inconvenience they experienced during the tunnel construction. The 16,700 square foot lot has been vacant since the Davis Square station opened in 1984. 3 houses once occupied the land, which the MBTA took by eminent domain as part of the subway project. At the meeting, Nagavi argued that without more parking, commerce in Davis Square would be threatened. I have 300 applications from non-Somerville resident business people. Those people have to park somewhere. He told the task force, if you don't find a solution somewhere, in 3 years the square will be dead. He said employees park in meter spaces meant for customers or on residential streets because they have no other place to park, and pay the tickets they get for parking illegally. Recent commercial development in the square has increased parking demands, officials say.
Welcome back to Dead Air Live. With me in the studio now is Joel Nitzberg. Joel is a program specialist for the Somerville Community Schools and is also the producer of and the voice you heard on the Talking News. Joel, why did you start doing this, the Talking News?
The Talking News program started a few years ago. One of the many programs that we run in the city is a social club for visually impaired adults. And we were told by this group that they didn't have access to local news. They couldn't read the newspaper. So we started the Talking News with this group of maybe 20 members, making the tape and then offering copies to the members. And last year I realized that there were a number of people in the city who were not members of this group who also didn't have access for any number of reasons, either because they couldn't afford the newspapers or just didn't have access to other newsletters that are included. So looking at Channel 3 at the bulletin board and hearing NPR, I thought, well, if NPR's on there, why can't we?
Great.
So
great idea.
There's the audio with no visual, which is fine for me.
Which is perfect for what you're using for. What kind of feedback have you gotten? People really listen to it?
It's some people have. It's hard to know who the audience is out there. I actually hear feedback from the Project Outlook people, which is our program, who then say, "Oh, I heard you again on cable," because it's on twice a week at a decent time. Then they have even more access to the news. But I don't know who the audience is out there.
Right.
I haven't heard.
What's up, Sov?
To get that kind of feedback, wouldn't it?
Occasionally I ask for people to call and say, I listen to you, but...
You have a nice voice for that. I know you. It actually was sounded different.
Boring community access show about community access.
What do you read? Just the Somerville Journal? Or?
No, the Journal is
Y'all don't know how good you have it
portion of the
in the US of A when it comes to public access.
Somerville this week. The Council on Aging puts out a newsletter.
Lucky motherfuckers.
I'm not sure what the audience is entirely, though I'm gearing it towards an older group. So, and a disabled group also. So there's a newsletter that comes out of Boston from, I'm blanking on the name, but there are a number of...
I can see why.
But the Journal is a major...
The fair trade, I think, that we made is our public access was always shit, but our healthcare was decent. Not sure if it will be in a few years' time,
but the character generator,
because boomers are fucking idiots, but
it used to be called the message wheel in the old days.
we'll see, I suppose.
But basically, the community bulletin board is a better way, I think, the electronic bulletin board. But it was interesting because your organization was also on the community bulletin board. You know, like, here was your voice in there. I realized it was... Now, the community schools has used that a lot. Have you found it effective?
Yes, very much. In fact, this weekend we're running a crafts fair. That's a plug.
It's okay. This is what we're talking about, plugging the community groups.
We've found craftspeople through that bulletin board. People have called us as a result of seeing that. Because we run programs throughout the city and the clientele is quite varied in age and numbers, it's hard to reach so many people, so TV is an excellent way of doing that.
Right.
So we are constantly using that bulletin board to advertise programs and special events.
Yeah, I guess I just, again, I laughed when I said a plug, but it's exactly what Access is the best, is a vehicle for in terms of getting the information from an organization that you spend a lot of time working on, get it out to the community. and what better way than using public access? And again, just encouraging people to
Doesn't
use
sound local.
the community bulletin board a lot, because I know that
That's for
you know,
sure.
I hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I saw that there," you know, and people do flip the channels and they find it, you know. In terms of community schools, now this is sort of a well, no, it's not non-visual, but a different form of video, let's say. What other kinds of video has the community schools gotten involved in?
We've done PSAs, which public service announcements, again, advertising programs, which are longer versions, kind of storylines about what we do. We have had special events taped. We run a daycare program throughout the city, and kids have come down to the studio, and they've
Man, fucking
produced
fantastic.
shows, which I gather they've even won awards for. There's
Yeah,
a real
you're pretty much
range of
right.
things. I'm currently now
It's a
editing,
shame in a lot of ways.
program on
Good in a lot of
immigration in the
others.
city, transferring
But
styles
content
of
like
video that will
this
then be,
is just
broadcast.
going to go completely unseen now.
It's very involved with it, and it's real important that groups like the community schools use it. We're moving on in the show to go to. And first, I want to thank you for taking time out to be here tonight, too, Joel. The next tape that we're going to see is a tape was produced by Caspar, particularly Abby Friedman and Juliet Faithful, and it's also, I might add, it's in Portuguese, and we're going to be talking about why people chose to do this tape and in Portuguese. So stay with us.
Oh boy. Do we get subtitles? Oh, he's having a drink. Thinking of hooch. Nice Misfits top.
Estes aqui são os travões.
Estes dois são os travões.
I want to watch this whole show.
beber um pouco de vinho? Tem cama, não te queres sentir bem disposto? Onde é que estão as mudanças?
Estou aí na frente do cenário, seu estúpido.
Aqui embaixo.
Para de me chatear, estou tentando me divertir.
O que vais fazer este verão? Trabalhar?
Sim, até ao fim do mês. E depois vou ter uma família.
Yeah, what is the pros compared to content like this? The thing is, like, what has become the equivalent of this on YouTube is unfucking watchable. And professional stuff is still just bland and boring.
Mas eu vou ficar com a minha tia. Vou ficar aqui mesmo a me divertir.
There's no charm to it anymore, I guess, because everyone can do it.
Realmente é difícil.
I don't know, I'm just old and grouchy.
Pedro, podes me dar uma boleia?
Não sei, Rick, pergunta ao seu irmão.
Don!
O que é que foi?
Posso ir com o Pedro? Eu me lavo se tu me deres licença.
Acho que não, o Pedro está um bocado bêbado para dirigir. Bêbado? Que tal isso? Eu nunca estou bêbado demais para guiar.
It looks like Connor 75, DK64 extraordinaire.
Vamos lá!
Fica descansado, Tônio. O Pedro é bom volante. O teu irmão está em boas mãos.
Of course the gems are out there, but the problem is the gems are buried. Rather than being buried only to be found by people who happen to be recording public access TV at that time, they pretty much just get permanently buried under the sheer weight of everything going on.
Welcome back to our show on community groups and how they use the access television in Somerville. I quickly announced the last tape as Caspar, and I think if you've lived in the city for a long time, you know them as Caspar. But what Caspar stands for...
But also meme culture has sort of built all this sort of stuff too.
Alcoholism Rehabilitation. And I'd like to introduce the guests with me for this segment. To my left is Abby Friedman, who's a community producer and was one of the co-producers of the tape you just saw. To her left is Juliet Faithful, who is the cross-cultural consultant for Caspar. And welcome to the show. I guess
you can tell these folks love being on TV.
Why did you want to do this tape? Why did Caspar
Started watching Black Mirror.
Do this particular tape?
Well, we've been trying to extend the curriculum. We teach an alcohol education curriculum in the schools from kindergarten to 12th grade.
I watched the first season of that when it came out. Haven't seen anything else of it though, unfortunately.
And really we found there were no films that were either in Portuguese or that were culturally relevant, that, you know, embodied some of the cultural beliefs and used Portuguese actors, films that the kids could identify with. So that's we decided that it would be worthwhile to invest some time and just develop a film to use in the schools.
I understand this film is still in progress too, so we've basically gotten a sneak preview of this, right? Is that right?
The first.
We're the first, all right. Well, it's really nice. What I've seen of it was, I mean, I don't speak Portuguese,
Yeah.
but visually it's really beautiful.
I really don't have the
how is
energy
it
to
like
watch
working
much stuff.
together?
I'd be really picky and choosy with what I
Really
sit through.
interesting. I think it's been really great. I think both of us have learned a lot.
Like,
from
I
each other.
sit through
Juliet
Stranger
had
Things
never
because
done
I
any filmmaking or
enjoyed the
video
first season a
before,
whole
and
lot.
I had never worked with a group different from my own culture. So
Other than
I
that,
think I learned
this is my
something
kind of
in the
content
culture.
here, I think. This
And
kind of just
I
bizarre
also,
shit that no one else is ever going to care to watch ever again.
Foreign language that I didn't understand as well.
So you all spent a lot of time together in the editing room, I see.
Oh, yeah.
The whole time.
Cool story, bro.
Many hours ahead of us too.
I think there had to be a lot of playoff. We were constantly,
Brilliant.
you know, tuning into each other because I was unfamiliar with the technical aspects.
Just go watch your titty animes and
So we had to work
enjoy
together,
that shit
but I think it
instead.
worked very well.
So this is a good example too of another way that organizations that may not have a staff person that
The
can
old
go out and do
6,000
video
episode
with
titty
other
animes.
people like yourself, like a community producer, freelance producer, to be able to make sure the technical thing comes out.
6,000 episode titty
I
animes,
also
dude.
was curious to ask
Oh
you,
boy.
how is
The
it
no from
possible to
me,
use
dog.
videotape in other ways? Do you know?
We used to use it with the
Can't.
peer. We have peer leaders
Can't do it.
that run peer groups for kids in the schools, but we're not currently using it because I think our video equipment was stolen or taken away. But we hope to.
They
get
lost the
back
video
into it.
equipment?
We use a lot of
shit.
videotapes
In
for
terms of
you know,
playing them
in
and
terms
showing
of
the
playing
kids,
them
yeah.
and using them for discussions and that's what this tape is about. It's a trigger. For
Someone nicked their
so
fucking video equipment.
How will you use that?
well, it's really an interactive experience. What you saw was just a few minutes of about a 6-minute trigger, which involved a situation with peer pressure and drinking. And what we'll do is show that and then start a discussion about how did people feel, what were the choices available, what options do teenagers have.
God damn, I can't imagine watching like multiple
really, it's part
hundred
of the whole
episodes of the same fucking show.
During that time, we'll also talk about resources, that places they can go for help.
But it sounds like it seems like it's also could be a standalone, like go on out on
Wait,
Access
Jesus.
as well. Could it go out by itself? Does it need to stay?
No, it's not a standalone
It's
piece.
not. Okay.
In fact, I wouldn't put it out over Access.
Yeah,
unless
it's a
there
no
was
from me.
some
Not
kind of
watching any of that
substance
crap.
surrounding it.
Yeah.
Just
We
don't have
don't answer
time
any
for it.
questions, we just raise
No
raise
interest.
the film.
So the way maybe
Anime's already
orientation
written
we use a
weird
live studio show
for
or
Western
something.
audiences anyway. Like you really have to
I'd like to ask you, Abby, too. You
overlook
work with a lot of different community groups.
sort of
Is there other ways that community groups can get involved?
the style of it because it is very foreign.
That,
It is
you know,
very
there are two
clearly
ways. Either
translated,
the
and
groups could come in
it's
and,
bizarre. Like
somebody
it's
from one of the
jarring.
organizations could take the
I find
classes,
dialogue in every anime I've ever
go
watched to
through
be
the process of
extremely
making
uncomfortable.
a video, and I think Juliet was actually considering that before she made this. And then the other way is simply to contact SCAT.
Public access anime though,
to
I'd
get
be
some
interested in that.
referral, you know, for a producer, and then work with the producer using
90s
SCAT
anime.
and
I prefer the art style
I
of
think,
like 80s and 90s anime.
it's
I
very
find
good
that
for community organizations
nice to look at. I
utilize the
hate
access
how it
station
looks
the
in
way
it.
that,
I think it looks
CASPAR
so
has, because for organizations
digital.
that have very tight budgets, local small
So
organizations.
digital.
Um,
In the 90s,
they
you know,
have the
because it was all
opportunity,
like
you know, to
drawn
use
and
this
stuff, it
equipment
just
at really
looks
much
so
lower
much better.
rates than if they went to a commercial house. And I
But that's
think
me
also
prefer it
you
like
get
I'm
a
someone who
sense of
prefers
commitment
practical
from both the
effects over
producer and the
special
access station, because
digital
they felt very
effects.
committed to the project.
Well, I think too it's really interesting that
Exactly, the passion
I think that
project.
many community organizations bring a lot of different needs to public access. It's not just putting things out on the air, but
It's
like
probably
you've
why
done,
I
it's like
enjoy Stranger
created a
Things,
way
not
to
because it's a
work
low
in a group
budget thing, because
setting.
obviously it has a
So lot
huge
of
budget,
times
but
community
because
groups use tapes
it's
and
made by
show
people
that,
who
play back within
to
the,
whom it is
you
a
know,
passion
within
project, and
the
they
Mailu and everything. So I think
fought
SCAT has been really
hard
wonderful
for
about sort of opening the doors to a
the
lot of
things that
different
they
ways to
wanted
use it.
to be included.
Well, I thank you both for being here with us. And,
Oh, yeah, we're
look
gonna get
forward to seeing-
more
Now, you're going to have
interviews?
subtitles, though, correct? English subtitles or voiceover?
There's going to be two versions. One will be only in Portuguese, right? And
Right.
one will have English subtitles for
I seem to recall
the
watching
classes
that.
where there will be
watching Trigun
mixed
when I was a
group.
teenager.
The second generation, sometimes they
I think I
have the
enjoyed it
cultural
back then.
piece
I would not
that's
enjoy it
much
now.
better than Portuguese.
Right, that's a really good idea. And I think also I'd love to just add too right now that before we go to the next tape is that Somerville has a very large Portuguese population and has for a long time. And one of the really wonderful organizations too in the city that deals specifically with the Portuguese, Somerville Portuguese American League, SPAL, which is actually housed in this building. It's now upstairs here at the firehouse. And SPAL's done a lot of work on community television and public access. Our next tape that we'd like to go to right now is it's a tape
she
called,
drinking?
actually, the thing is called Meet the Legislators.
I was in
and
the
it's by
host. What's the
Council
host
for
drinking?
Children, and they do this every year. So please stay with us, and we'll be joined by one of the
It's gonna be
members of the Council
stiff, but not too stiff. Whatever it is, right? Either that or she's just smoking something. Yeah, it's gonna be something like something that she'll feel,
Welcome to the Somerville Council for Children's
but not
annual
like
meeting
so
of
strong that it's gonna give her a physical reaction, where she's gonna like,
for 6 years, and we're very happy
you know,
tonight to
have to inhale it.
To my right is
He's not drinking
Senator
fine whiskey,
Sal
I'll tell you that
Albano, who's
much.
the chairman of the Public Safety
Oh,
Committee
this
and
guy's
member
just
of
a
the Education
grouch.
and
Look at
Human
him.
Services Committee. Next to Sal is Representative Marie Howe, longtime member of the Ways and Means Committee. Next to Marie is Representative Joe Mackey, a member of the Ways and Means Committee.
He's a stick in the mud too,
Judiciary
you can
Committee.
tell.
And next to Joe is Representative Peter Bellucci on the Rules Committee and Energy Committee.
Also stick in the mud. I reckon all these four sticks in the
We'll
mud.
open up with 2-minute introductory statements by the legislators. Then we're going to have issue statements by 3 members of the Somerville Council for Children, and then we will have general audience questions to the legislators.
Welcome to like
one more
politics
quick 30-second question.
and anything that has to go through any kind of.
As Senator Albano said, there's going to be some major cuts in the budget next year, and I would ask you how you will work and how, more importantly, we can work with you to be sure that children's programs get a fair shake. I'm continually reminded that children don't vote, but that they are our most important resource for the future. So,
That's a good question. You know, I was thinking on my way over here today, if the Somerville delegation could sit down and do this whole budget for the state, it would be done very fast and very easy. And
It's funny how like
that's not practical.
politics is so fucking divided, but like
I would just
all
like
in
to say
all,
that,
both sides are
we
just
have to
run
be
by
here
rich
tonight
cunts looking to get more rich.
The important thing is that you have to have confidence in your legislator to do the correct things and to be concerned.
I have not heard. I'm out of the loop. He doesn't talk to me that much.
All of us here are very concerned. We work hard as a team. We do our best together. In the last 6 years, the Somerville delegation has come a long way in support, mainly because of the funds.
Good luck to him. I hope it all goes well. Hopefully it's
for the cities. All these things are changing. And so now we're in the times that we're going to have to be very careful.
He just sent y'all a message.
Confidence in all of us doing the work for ourselves.
Well, I'll bet he is.
Doing the work for you.
I will say though, like I recall just being
more than 70%
so
of the budget and more than 70% of the increases in revenue go to human service programs or out of local aid.
I didn't really have a panic until Jackson came
the
home.
DPW, they're not going to the courts, they're not going to the jails, they're not going to
Oh, right.
general government. They're going to human services and local aid. There's a direct tension that you'll be seeing more of in the coming years between what dollar is spent for local aid and what dollar is spent for human services. I don't think you'll see major cutback on the remaining 30% because I think what you'll see is
At least he's active somewhere, huh?
money spent on general government and the courts, the jails as the overall part of the budget. But you're going to have increased environmental concerns in the next few years that have to be
Increased
addressed,
environmental
and
concerns
those
that have to
will
be
also
addressed.
competed
Jeez, if only
for
we'd
that
fucking
dollar.
addressed them
Right
on a
question
global
here,
level.
The answer is that you have to, human services have to compete with local aid for every dollar.
To be very brief, I may get a cost-effectiveness comparisons in here. Most of the programming in the budget has been level funded. That means there's no increase or hopefully there's no decreases for fiscal year 89, which begins on July 1st. Let me just give a few statistics. It costs $1,100 to provide a summer job for a teen. It costs $20,000 to
I
keep
mean,
that
yeah, Zach's
teen in
having
the
a real
juvenile
rough go. I should
institution
probably
for
send him a
year.
message.
It costs $600 to provide a year of compensatory education services to a teen.
I'll shoot him a message.
It costs more than $2,400 to finance a repeated grade for a disadvantaged student. So this is what we're espousing here tonight. Let's spend it now, and we don't have to spend it later.
I just want to say that although we do spend a larger part of our budget on human services, I still think that we need more. Our priorities are not focused enough on the human part of our budget. When we can pass a bond issue, a transportation bond issue for some $3 billion, it means that our emphasis is on fixing potholes and not people.
Good, thank you. We'd like to thank the audience, the Somerville Council for Children for their questions, the panelists, Elaine Matthews, Mark Ash, and Susan Hagedorn. We appreciate your questions. Senator Albino, Representative Howe, Representative Mackey, and Representative Bellucci for the Somerville Council for Children. We appreciate all your work and your being here tonight. Thank you. We would like anyone to, if they have questions for the Somerville Council for Children, to contact the council office at 623-5096. We appreciate your support.
Good evening and welcome back to our special show for Community TV Week, Accessing the Channel, a celebration of how community organizations use public access video here in Somerville. My guest now is Mark Ash. Mark is a member of the Council for Children and is also the career educational counselor at the Somerville school system. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Claire. Glad to be here.
How long have you been involved with the Council for Children?
Going on 5 years now, 4 years.
And how long has, this seems to be since I've known the group, they've been doing this sort of legislative forum. How long has that been going on?
Well, certainly since I've been with the council. I think for a few years prior to that as well. I think that's our major interaction with community access TV here in Somerville every year. I think it's an important issue, and I think it's a way that we can get a lot of the issues and many of the budgetary concerns we all read in the newspapers about problems with the state budget, fiscal mismanagement, and certain money.
There we go.
Those budget
There we
issues
go.
directly affect the
Just sent him
kids
some love, support.
as a member and as a council, which is made up of community people, parents, educators, and people from a wide variety of children's issues-oriented groups. We like to meet with our representatives and senators once a year and sort of talk about issues, particularly budgetary issues about various programming for kids, funding for education, and many issues of that nature and how they directly affect our kids in Somerville.
I can definitely relate to some of the stuff that he posted in a way.
A community meeting place.
Well,
But,
with all of the parents that we have in the community, they cannot.
different in other ways. Like as I said, I was extremely calm. I was extremely calm.
Enjoying now by videotaping and broadcasting these annual meetings with the legislatures.
I don't think if I ever have another kid, I'll be calm. I think at that point I'll be freaking the fuck out.
We're
But
able to get some of this information out to parents and people in the community, and they in turn.
but that'll probably more so to do with like two of them. No.
And they can in turn have an impact on some of these items.
Oh, great. Now, very briefly, because I've been giving a signal that we have to move on yet to another tape, but you also, in terms of the Somerville school system, has done a very interesting use of public access TV in doing this orientation tape?
Yeah, well, since we've got a new high school, and
New
it's
high
big,
school.
it can be kind of intimidating for 8th grade students. In conjunction with SCAD and Charlie Cook's video class last year, we had a number of students who produced their own orientation tape for 8th graders coming to the school. And many of the questions that the students asked were issues that are important to young students coming up to the high school, so they feel a little more comfortable there, and that was a lot of fun.
Right. It's another unusual use of using public access. Thanks
Public
again,
access
Rob, for being
is
here,
such a
Mark,
cool thing
and
because,
good luck
like,
with future legislative forums. Right now we're
the
going to go
variety,
to the
man,
last tape of the show.
the limited
And
variety, and I
this
think
is a
that's
tape
the
that was
beautiful thing
produced by the
about it. It's not
Clarendon Hill
everything
Tower
is at your
Tenant
fingertips.
Association.
No,
So
it's
stay
the
with
way I
us,
compare it
and
is
we'll be
like,
joined with
do you
the feedback
remember,
group when we return.
you know, before Netflix, having to go into, you know, your local video rental store, and the difference between picking Battlefield Earth there and saying this looks cool and picking it on like Netflix, whatever the fuck streaming service it's on, is you pick it on whatever the fuck it's on now, you watch a few minutes of it and think, whatever, fucking sucks, I'll just turn it off. But you rented that shit from Blockbuster, you take that shit, you pop it in the VCR, and you press play. If you don't like it, fuck it, your money's gone, you may as well watch it, dude. You may as well just fucking go and watch it.
Why are these apartments so cheap? Well, the truth is not that these are so cheap, but that everything else in
So
Somerville
you
is
basically
so
like had forced exposure to things you might not otherwise have watched, because like, you know what, I've paid to rent this, I have this and like 2 other tapes that I rented, I've watched those, I may as well just fucking watch them.
In return, the developers agreed to keep the rents affordable for 40 years.
Like those hours that people spend on Netflix just scrolling. Used to be able to do that in the Blockbuster, but then when you picked, you picked.
That are well designed as well kept. This elderly couple has lived here for 18 years. They love it. They raised their children here and
Yes,
are now very active
that's exactly
in the church
right.
next door.
We are happy here. We're here 19 years. Come June
But
the
yeah,
12th.
it gave us the opportunity to be picky and to really like criticize things.
I won't be able to afford to stay here. But see,
You know?
when we came down here, we were told a 40-year mortgage. I figured 40 years.
That's why I've got a massively high tolerance for like bad movies,
And that's what we relied on. Yeah. You know, being able to stay here for
especially from the
not have
past.
to worry about moving.
I don't like purposely bad movies though. I think things like Sharknado can just fuck right off. Got no interest in that shit.
Anything to ease our mind. All I'm saying, please don't worry about it. Something's going to work.
All I can say is that I love this place. I've been here for, as she said, 19 years, and I wouldn't really like to leave. And I wish that everybody in this apartment complex, the 3 buildings, all get together and fight hard to try to save their homes and their apartments here, because it is beautiful here, and we would love to stay here.
This young family was relieved to find a landlord that actually takes children, because although it is illegal to discriminate against children, landlords do it all the time.
We do enjoy affordable housing. Nobody wants to pay, you know, the rents are up now. It's ridiculous.
Well, the problem is the algorithm works only for certain people. It's just like when Spotify, for example, recommends me songs, 99 times out of 100, I fucking hate the song. Actually, that's an extreme way to put it, but 99 out of 100 times, I just have no interest in the song.
In the midst of all the rent inflation that has hit Somerville.
Because I am someone who is more into individual songs than I am specific genres. Although I will say, I do quite enjoy punk. But there's just,
I'm Luann
like,
David, a member of the Executive Committee of the Tenants Association.
there are songs from just about any genre you can imagine that I like more than the average punk song. So,
Where there's no heat, where the landlord has tripled the rent,
finding new music can be
and
really
that's
tough for
not
me.
true, as you've just heard.
And the way that I hear things and I see things is so crazy, because sometimes I'll watch something or I'll like listen to an album and then I'll
Straight mortgage to keep these apartments at affordable rent. We found out a year ago.
sometimes I'll like hear it or watch it and just think like, yeah, I don't think much of that, and then a little while later I'll go back to it. and I'll like listen to it, and I just won't recognize any of it, and I'll be like, "What? This is fantastic! How did I not like this? How did I not immediately see that this is amazing?"
Him to keep these apartments affordable.
Bizarre. Like it's almost like I'm listening to I'm hearing two completely different things from the same thing.
Our homes are at risk. We wondered what to do and decided to form a tenants association to see what we could do, how we might save our homes. Some people have lived here.
I use the song site for, as you said, convenience, especially because some of the more like,
And the thought of having to move again in a year and a half
as I sort of said, some of the more obscure stuff that I like can be conveniently there, whereas finding it in a high enough quality and going through the process of ripping everything off YouTube is pain.
Became
I don't want to do that.
more than I could handle. So now you can see why we formed a tenants association, and you'll see what we're hoping we may be able to do.
Yeah.
And welcome back to our special
Kinda.
show for Community
I mean,
TV
I just think I'm
1988.
pretty static with what I enjoy.
Helen Smith, who is a
I have a
member of
big
the
Spotify
executive committee
playlist,
for
which is just
Urban
random
Towers
songs that I
Tenants
like.
Association, who are the
And
producers of the
like
tape that you
stuff
just
gets
saw.
added to it, nothing
Welcome,
really ever
Helen.
gets taken away, so no matter what mood I'm in, I
Helen,
can
I really want to ask
press
you,
play
first
on
of
that
all, how did you
playlist
get
and
involved in the Clarendon
I'll
Hill
enjoy
Towers
it.
Tenant Association?
Well, I had heard about the expiring lease, and there was a meeting called at the Powder House School by Kathy O'Day, and Cass was also involved, and that's how we got started.
Mm-hmm. Now, what made the Tenant Association think about doing a videotape? Why did you do a videotape for public access?
Well, they thought that it would be a good way of informing the residents of Somerville and also the tenants who couldn't come to the meetings to give them some idea of what was taking place.
Mm-hmm. And did it work?
Yes, it did. Yes, we had a good response.
What kind of feedback did you get?
Well, we showed, we had screenings at the different apartments. People had videotaped.
Apartments.
And people became interested in what was taking place.
Well, it's not just the big list, it's the list.
Did you get interesting
It's the
calls from
list.
people who maybe didn't know about it?
Every now and then I might be like, hey, I want to listen to this one band a little bit, but
No, it's mostly the people that were working with us, yes.
Right. Now, what work
my
did you have
top
in
songs
producing this tape?
have never, like on Spotify, have rarely changed. My top bands have pretty much never changed.
Participated in making up the script.
Right. So was sort of one of the producers too as well, right? Now I want to ask you too, because I think it's all we showed of this tape. This tape is at least a half an hour long, am I right?
Right.
There's a lot of information. We only were able to use a small part, so it's just really the introduction of the issue, like what's happening there. What is happening now with this issue in terms of the 40-year mortgage and
Well, since we made the tape, we hired a housing consultant who was a specialist in housing, and she explored different avenues to come up with a plan for us to purchase the building. And also we hired an attorney, Tim Eloise from Hale and Dorr. He's a legal advisor, and he has been communicating with one of the owners. And the executive committee met twice with the owner, who comes from Mr. Maltz, who comes from New York.
I would love to go to Japan and just like
competitive offer.
Find some dingy little like record store and just buy a heap of obscure shit. I'd love to do that in any country, really. Like, I'd love to go to Britain. I'd love to go, you know,
building to the tenants association.
you know,
this would make this
that's entirely subjective.
Like a cooperative on some level? Can you
Well,
explain how that would work?
it's dubious because
Being like weirdness is subjective,
IRS
like.
restrictions.
But also, what's more weird, like
Our attorney
hopping onto fads just because everyone else is hopping onto them, or being individual? You know, pretty much any country. I don't see any point in going, you know, to the USA for it for that particular reason. Like, if I was going to the USA, it would be to like hang out with people, you know, or go see some bands live, rather than look for obscure old school shit.
I had to ask you that earlier. That's a great word.
Well, I suppose there is probably a lot of
very
like,
exciting to see.
maybe not so much
people,
actually.
you know, come
But
together
it'll be on
again
like,
because we do video.
it's
and
probably
this we're
Spotify
focusing the
now,
show
but
on,
like,
but it also was a lot of work.
what's that other fucking site? SoundCloud. That'll be on SoundCloud and shit too.
Many hours in meetings.
Yeah.
Over the last
Not only
19
working on
months.
this tape, but also struggling with this issue. Well, I congratulate you all on sticking to it, and it sounds like you're almost near some kind of victory, am I right?
Yeah, it'll be probably a year before the final transaction.
Right, great.
But there's still a great deal.
Going back to the public access thing to keep it relevant to the episode, I feel like this show that I'm doing now
Oh, yeah, to cut the ribbon.
is very much in the vein of public access.
Excellent. And
Or it's just me sitting down,
Yeah,
watching
I'd like to,
obscure shit and being like, ah,
Community
yeah.
Action, Agency of Somerville.
Because realistically,
Those
if you queued up
providers
every
with
episode I've done so
full-time
far,
staff since October 1987.
you could run a TV
And
channel
also
for a
the
couple
city of
days,
Somerville
at
has
least.
been extremely supportive.
All right, great. Well, I really want to thank you very much for being on, Helen.
And do we
also
still have another
wish you all
interview?
and your group a lot of luck, and I'd love to be there for the ribbon ceremony. But maybe I'll see it on public.
I remember one time, out of
What we'd
nowhere,
like to do now is we're going to have someone just join us. You've
a
already met Jerry
band
Field. He's
reached
gonna come
out
on
to
the
a bunch
set,
of people on a website that I
Jerry
use.
and Helen and I are going to do what we call a wrap-up. Helen, really, I didn't warn
And
you
some
about
like
this earlier.
new metal
We
band from
basically wanted just to
Kazakhstan
tell you a little bit about
just
what's
like
happening the rest of community
reaching
TV
out
Week.
and saying,
And
yo,
I think
listen
I'm
to
gonna
our
let
stuff.
Jerry, I've been talking a lot. I think I'm going to let Jerry give us an idea. What can we see tomorrow through the rest of the week?
Okay. I'd first like to say, actually, that Helen and I have the joint pleasure, I think, of serving together in a citizens legislative seminar series that's being held down at the State House. I've had a chance to meet Helen in the last few weeks and a little bit more. And this coming Thursday, we're going to be role-playing the roles of, I'm going to be a state representative, she's going to be a state senator, though.
Oh, great. I love it.
It's going to be fun. The reason I say that, though, too, is because I think one of the exciting and the really fun things about working here is meeting people like Helen and the other people.
Love to be
on
able
the
to
show
curate my own
and getting
TV
to know them
station.
around either issues and
The
and
best.
just personal interests. So it's been
Actually,
fun.
there is a sort of project that I have
The
been thinking
other
of working
programming
on.
for Community TV Week.
Hush, hush.
Tomorrow night we have an evening that we're calling Cultural Diversity, and
I'm pretty
what we're
excited
doing is
about the
having
concept
number
of it.
programs that are
I just
regularly
need to
produced through SCAT,
really get to the
or other
planning
places as
stage.
well, that give a sense of some of the cultural and artistic diversity in Somerville. We have Contacto, the Portuguese news magazine. Telecreole will be on tomorrow night, and also the tape that just got completed of the Somerville Arts Council Art Beat program back in September will be on. On Thursday night, we have about 10 different tapes from independent producers, individual members of SCAT, and along with short clips of each of those people talking about why they do video. And on Friday night is the culmination of the week, which is a major event, and I invite everybody at home to tune in at 8 o'clock on Friday night on Channel 3 and 22 for the annual SCAT Video Awards.
There we go.
This is about an hour and a half or so of time that we try to take during Community TV Week to acknowledge people who've been particularly involved and
I was just
particularly successful.
ranting on about how I
television.
have
So
like a
we have
project that
our
I'm
own sort of
considering working
version
on.
of the Emmy Awards that
It's going to be a bit interesting if I can
but we invite everybody at home to tune in.
if I can get it going.
No, not as long and twice as fun because you know all the people who are involved. So that's pretty good.
Well, again, go ahead.
No, I just
I was talking about how I'd love to
for-
curate my own
to the producers group
TV
as well
station.
for helping to for putting the show on tonight as part of Community TV Week. One of the strongest things that's been here in Somerville for a long time has been the Somerville.
It'll be a huge project though, this thing that I have in mind.
All right.
That was loud.
And I
Sorry.
would like to just, again, wrap up this show with thanking all the people that were guests on our show. And also to say that if you're out there watching the show,
I mean, I don't care necessarily about like online being a thing. I just wish we didn't rely on it so
and
much.
that public access is one of the last free places that we really do have to come.
Really
and
just wish
talk
that
about
we
what
didn't
is
rely on
important
it as
to
much
us
as we
in
do
our
because it
lives.
feels
So I
like
encourage you all to take advantage of it, whether you
Just-
whether you
it
tune us in more often
can't get
now
away
that
from
you've
it
seen
now.
this, or you come down to actually learn how to run a camera. So again, the name of the show tonight was the Accessing the Cable and the Celebration of Community Groups and How They Use Public Access. We are the Somerville Producers Group. The show is Dead Air Live. My name is Claire Beach. Thanks for joining us.
Dead Air Live. Oh, come on. You gotta at least have some nice music. Way too slow. Gotta fade it in quicker. It's a cool tune though. That's a fact. Hence why the world is fucking breaking down around us at all times these days. Anyway, this is pretty much the end of the first of 5 episodes, so I'm about to take a little break. About probably 2 minutes, maybe. I cut to the credits. And go back to the starting soon screen. So, as I had to say 4 times last night, for those watching on YouTube, stay tuned for the next episode. For those watching on Twitch, hold your horses. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Yeah, I get fucking way too wired all the time. That's why I stayed up till 3 AM. Doing exactly what I'm doing now. Night, Sov. Have a good one, dude. Blair Beach. Oh, this is 1988. So they still had like over a decade of public access domination after this. One of the main things I'm envious of people in the... That said, they'd probably give up everything they had to be where we are now in terms of connectivity and choice and convenience. Yes, thank you all. And I suppose B to the R to the B. And true. Don't forget the true.